motion to do anything
Yes.
here?
Well, we'll do that when we come out,
And to do what?
These?
to
Allow them to move forward?
allow them to work with HR and come up with an agreement that we will sign at a later time.
Yeah. So I don't think there's a decision we need today.
Yeah. A motion, come out.
Oh, motion to come out of an executive session.
We have a motion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
And then I'll just go ahead and make a motion that we have the Public Defender's Office work with HR and come up with agreements with employee contracts.
Okay.
All right?
All right. Thank you.
We have a motion, all in favor say aye.
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 You can either drop those off at Josh. Drop them off. Thank you. My name is Josh Calvin.
Is.
All right. Why don't you guys come on up? You're okay, aren't you, Ryan? You got a minute?
Yeah, yeah.
Well, let's kick him out again.
What's that?
I said, let's kick him out again.
Carl Burmester, Public Works Director.
Dylan Evans, Assistant Operations Manager for Solid Waste.
Aubrey Lewis, Management Assistant for Solid Waste.
What we bring in for you is, as you know, that at the landfill, anything that's going to have a fee change or free or anything like that needs to be approved through the commission. So we thought it might be good to give you a little update on some of the things that have been going on for years and these services that we do for the county and what that is costing us as a county. One of them is free days. So we do 2 free days a year at Pocatello and McCammon, and then we do 1 free day for each of the other cities, small cities, which is Ingham, Aramo, Downey, and Lava.
Okay, to clarify on that, those free days, you take dumpsters to
Yeah,
Downey
that's-
and Aramo, you just allow Ingham to come to the landfill and dump.
Yes.
Okay.
So what that process is like Commissioner Moser said, is we take a dumpster down, we have an employee that whole day shuttling that from that town to the Bannock County landfill, the Fort Hall mine landfill. To watch with that, them cities have elect a person to watch that dumpster for the day, so that we don't get hazardous waste and different things like that. So the cities help out in that way.
Have they been effective doing that? Have they watched it, or you have to sort once it gets here?
Very rarely. We usually are pretty successful that way, not getting things we shouldn't accept, so.
So yeah, it's been working out. We've had times that we had to kind of get after them and make sure that they were on board with what they could have in there, and make sure they have a list of what can go in there and not and stuff. But it's not been as bad.
I've noticed that in some of the cities, they have some dumpsters around, and the churches have dumpsters around, and they collect things that probably shouldn't be put in them dumpsters, just as people drive by and see nobody watching. So that's my question.
So part of that your packet kind of shows that what the tonnage costs are, because these go to different locations at the landfill. We did the last 4 years. In FY22, we had $13,000, a little over that, for disposal fee. That's not to account for the equipment and labor, which is also on there. So throughout the last 4 years, you're looking at around an average of $3,500 a year for our equipment and labor, also for the free days that we do. That's only counting when it's off-site. That's not all the labor that's going on at the landfill anyway, because them are days that we're fully working at the landfill, so there's more labor involved, like compacting the garbage and stuff like that. That's just getting the garbage from them towns to the landfill. So you're looking at a 16,000 a year with labor and dump fees for our free day
Is
that we do.
Is that the free day for everybody? That's the total cost?
Yes.
Other than businesses.
Sorry?
Businesses don't get free day. It's only public.
Yeah, this is only for its residential, not commercial waste.
So what we're talking about are, where are the free days? They're Pocatello, Chubbuck, and where else?
So we do, the free day for this area right here, Pocatello and Chubbuck, is at the landfill. So there's 2 of them per year because of the population of it. Then we have, as you go down through, we have a free day for Income, McCammon, Lava, Aramo, and Downey.
So the free day in Pocatello, anybody could actually use, as long as you're not commercial. Because you don't verify zip codes.
Exactly.
So it could be,
They could drive in.
But,
We don't check everybody's driver's license for that.
yeah, but you just track it by location, basically.
And so, if I'm understanding this right, the total cost per year of doing all of this stuff is 16,000? Is that what you're saying?
Mhm.
Okay.
Which I thought it would be more than that, honestly. Just because of the transporting from McCammon back and forth.
Like I say, the landfill's active, so we have all our personnel. That's just the hauling from the small cities. When they do the one here in Pocatello, they just bring it directly to the landfill. So you still have your normal daily costs of all the people working at the landfill.
Which you would be covering anyways.
But they'd be covering it whether it was a free day or not, so
Right.
that's.
But for $16,000, we're allowing 2 free days for every community in Bannock County.
Well, one in the small cities, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
2 in
One in the-
Pocatello, Chubbuck, and McCammon.
So it kinda does help,
Income has 2, or what?
no,
They
5,
do,
6, and
they do it for 2 days in a row. They
Okay.
don't have them separate like
so, but
Pocatello and McCammon do.
an Income delivers theirs.
Correct.
The patron themselves delivers it, not the city of Income.
So for 7 days total a year, that's the cost.
In Aramo, they have 1 day?
yes.
Downey has 1 day, Lava has 1 day.
Although they have the option to come here.
Right.
And
And-
they go to McCammon during that
And
free
Mc-
dump day. and-
Yeah, so McCammon is a transfer, we have a transfer station and a construction waste landfill. So that is open, has 2 free days. So them outlining ones, that's how they get their second day.
And that's one that worries me too, is actually in Bannock County, we have 2 landfills. Even if we call it a construction waste, are we gonna have remediation sometime down the road? When something else comes, they find something else or do something else. So I question, I mean, I'm out there, but I question, do we need 2 landfills in Bannock County?
And part of our update today is the McCammon landfill, and it kind of, there's some ideas we have that kind of mesh these 2 things together. So we run that, and by regulatorily, we can only put C&D waste at that landfill. So that is, and it's no commercial, it's only residential. So that's bare wood, asphalt, limbs, it's very basic what you can even put in there. So everything that goes to there as a household waste is going to be hauled to Pocatello. It transfers, we have a Z-wall with a bunch of dumpsters, and they just put their garbage in the dumpster and we haul it to Pocatello. Like Commissioner Moser said, every bit of waste you put into a cell, whether it's construction or not, you have the chance of contamination. We're spending $2 million a year right now at our landfill for remediation. We are in the red $22,000 each year running that McCammon landfill. We bring in 44,000. This is for last year. 44,000. Cost of labor, equipment, and stuff like that's 22. So you're still at around 22 grand of. Let me see if I'm writing that.
Do you break out revenue by McCammon? You do, right?
Yeah.
Do you track that within your system?
No. Well, I mean, in Wasteworks, yes, there is an option that you can see all the materials that are brought in and how much they charge for each of them. So I actually have it broken down on here too, each material code and how much it cost, how much we brought in. So in FY '21, those materials, there was $23,717 worth of revenue. However, our labor cost.
Wait, 23? The one I see says 22,180?
We are on FY
You're looking at
22.
22.
So it's 22,180 is the
Thank
total
you.
revenue
Okay, okay.
for
just-
22,
Oh, I
and
copied this in on here.
our cost is 44,417.
So that's where the loss is coming from.
So we have a loss of
Yeah,
22 grand.
so that's more in line with what I was thinking that we're
So the free
providing a
days
service, but
actually
we're
don't
not.
cost the county as much as running this McCammon landfill.
Yeah.
How many days a week is that transfer station open?
In the winters, it's just Saturdays, and in the summer months, it's Saturdays and Wednesdays. But you can probably say a little bit on what numbers we're seeing.
It's very low on Wednesdays. On these pages, you can see kind of what our total customers were. So for the whole season that we're open on Wednesdays, we're averaging around 300-ish or so. And again, you'll have fluctuations, but there's been days that we have 4 customers in McCammon on Wednesdays, or days that we have, 10 customers. So it's a very, very slow day. Wednesdays are not a profitable day by any means.
So along that same line with McCammon, how full is the cell that is there now? And what's the projection of when that fills up and when we have to move one? We don't have to put liners in that one? Has there ever been a time when they just took all household garbage down there and just buried it down there?
I think there has been. Some of the history on that for the south of Bannock County is, at one time there was no PSIs or waste connections or different transporting waste out of that end to get it to the landfill. So you would have to take, there was no curbside. So you would have to take your garbage somewhere, and to try to keep it out of throwing it in the draw or whatever you find, the county came in and we put dumpsters out in locations, and there's probably like 8 dumpsters throughout the county, and we put our little trash fence around them, and they were kind of centrally located for people. What we found out at that time, and this is probably, I don't know how many years back, this is a long time ago, and they were putting whatever in there because nobody's monitoring it. So then they set up this McCammon landfill to be able to alleviate that, to where somebody was there and watching what was going in. But now we have the opportunity that everybody in Bannock County can receive curbside pickup. So we have PSI that has the contract with Bannock County in all them small areas, and all the cities go with them too. But so there is the option now to bring your household, just for somebody to pick it up right at your house.
Well, you're paying for it anyway because you're taxed.
Well, but we also pay through PSI if you're in the county.
Yeah, I mean,
So, yeah.
it's on your tax bill, you're paying.
So I can see some of the part of the McCammon landfill being that there wasn't any other options, and we were trying to figure out how people could get their waste to a landfill. But now there is other options. You can go through PSI and get a medium-sized dumpster, a curbside dumpster, a full-size dumpster. You have the option. And the one thing to keep remembering is McCammon landfill is only residential. It's not any of these businesses. It's just residential to be able to, I guess, save 19 miles or something to get to the landfill.
But it also must be construction. If you're allowing asphalt and all that other, I mean.
It would be
That
if
would-
it's on a personal, it can't be a
I mean,
commercial. If you're doing your own home improvement, then yes.
So Ernie brought up a good point that has me a little concerned is I have to do reporting on closure costs. Right now, the only closure costs we have is for Pocatello, well, Fort Hall. Is that something you have had your
Without
engineer look
that
at?
being lined and to
We don't have
that
the same
subtitle
requirements?
D regulation, that it consists of covering it with 2 to 4 feet of soil, and there isn't even a monitoring that's required right now.
So it wouldn't be significant, so it probably
So-
doesn't fall under the statutory requirements of closure.
No, it does not. The landfill here is a whole different animal.
yeah, well, I just don't want us to get into some of the same problems down there that we have here, just for convenience. Because $2 million a year is pretty good price tag. Honestly, I'd like to go through this information a little more when Commissioner Huff is here too. This is something that affects all of the counties. If we make choices and decisions on polling free days, and I'd like to go over this information a little bit more, and then have you come back and see if we want to make decisions, look at all the options that are out there.
And we just pretty much wanted to update you so that you guys knew the information out there, so.
Well, it's a question that I've had for a while. Every time free dump days come and I get phone calls. And the other deal with that, free dump days, we need to clarify in our brochures and everything else what is allowed, what isn't allowed, and the trailers and everything else. That's what I say. I honestly, free dump days should all be right here at the landfill. We shouldn't be hauling everybody's garbage from McCammon. If we're giving it for free that day, we should be making them haul it to the landfill, in my opinion. But that's a discussion and a decision that we'll weigh everything out a little bit more, and we can all ask questions.
Yeah, I think there's a few options there. You could, like you said, you can do it just at Pocatello. We can look at McCammon only being open one day year-round. I mean, there's some options we can try to look at besides just whether or not we do it or don't do it.
Well, there's no reason to man that for 4 customers on a Wednesday. I mean, honestly.
So the timing of this is perfect with budget, and Commissioner Huff would concur. And also, he mentioned he would like to look at budget implications and maybe reschedule this for a follow-up work session as soon as possible. So maybe, I think next week's probably pretty busy because we're playing catch-up, but maybe in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah,
Let's look
I'll
at
follow
the
up
1st of March.
with you and
Would you get on the schedule again for that Thursday? Let's have a little lengthier discussion, a little more knowledge, a little better understanding. I appreciate all the information that you just brought to us. I mean, it's good information. And all of us want to do what's right for the county and right for the people, but garbage is a serious concern.
Well, like we've kind of looked at is, you know, we're providing services, so you could say snow plowing, you're not making your money back, so because it's a service. So there is that part of it, that these are services out there, whether or not the county can afford them or does them, but they're just a service.
Yeah. Like I say, mine's more the implications of what happens down the road as we continue on. What, you gotta protect the county and not run into the same situation that we're in right now.
And we did see with our research on it a little bit that there's trends of when we first kind of were doing this, there was a lot more waste, and it's been dropping through the small cities. That I think it is, from looking at some of them things, it looks like we are cleaning up the county. You know, because at first it was wow, and they really dumped everything on us. So, I feel it does help clean up the county every day. But
All right, thank you. Anything else? All right, thank you.
thank you.
Looked like, Ryan, we finally got to you.
Okay. Well, and I don't think it's on the agenda as as an executive session, because it's kind of a rule that we're talking about.
Well, we do.
It is, because you're going to.
Possible.
Possibly.
Regarding personnel, potential action.
Okay.
So
So
if
maybe if
we're
we
gonna talk
need to
names.
talk specifically about, okay. Commissioner.
Okay. Go with that one, John.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we move into executive session under Idaho Code 74-206-1A.
Commissioner Moser,
Yes.
Commissioner